Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast, Heavenly Enlightened. This is episode 6, and then today's topic is going to be about boundaries. So let's get
Yes.
into a little bit of understanding what boundaries are.
I'm so excited for this topic. So, boundaries is how we treat people. Boundaries are how we teach people how to treat us.
Mm-hmm.
I am so excited about boundaries because I feel like last week we mentioned something in the episode about boundaries.
Mm-hmm. When
And
it came to learning them after the DV relationship, I
yeah.
think. Mm-hmm.
So, sister, I'm curious to what we already defined what boundaries are. What is an example of a boundary that you've had to set in place for someone?
Well, since. Anyways, what's this thing? I got in trouble. Um, oh,
A boundary.
just to make it more like a seamless transition,
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna start with like the DV. So I
Okay.
would say after that, I think in like one of the previous episodes I had mentioned when we were talking about like therapy and stuff,
Yeah.
how I wasn't in therapy yet, but I was getting informed and educated on like the different therapy like options that there are for like trauma focus, EMDR, different things.
Yeah.
And during that time, I also got heavily invested into reading, which is crazy because I've never loved reading books or liked books at all.
Yeah.
Like between me and you've been the what is it called, bookworm?
I love books. Yes.
Mhm.
I love reading books, everything.
But I've realized that when it comes to me, I will pick up a book if it's about topics that are interesting. And so at that
Oh.
time, I was obsessed with like learning about my brain because, like I said, like I was facing certain things that I didn't understand, like anxiety and panic attacks and
Mm-hmm.
paranoia. Like I wasn't understanding what was going on. So
Mm-hmm.
those books were kind of like a freeing experience to
Okay.
read because it would like give me it was like a breath of fresh air,
Okay.
understanding like okay, all of these things are happening because X, Y, and Z. Now, two of the books that I read, those are the ones that impacted me the most to learn and to actually be confident with setting boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be sending pictures of them to my sister, so hopefully now she'll go ahead and display the two. I would recommend those highly. But once I started reading those things as I was in my healing journey, I was met with, different people in my path.
Yeah.
And as I was reading it, I was understanding that the reason why it's so difficult with boundaries. I've always been, or not always, but I would say in the beginning, like I was a people pleaser. And I feel like
Oh.
boundaries, when it comes to people that tend to be like people pleasers, is something that's very scary and tedious to go into because
Mm-hmm.
we constantly put ourselves in uncomfortable positions just so that you get what I'm saying,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
we say
yeah.
yes to things that we feel uncomfortable with,
So
but
you're the
it's just
yes man. Like just
mhm
yes, yes, yes. That's so interesting that you brought that up just because you said that like the people pleasing
mhm
aspect of it. Like I can relate so much to that because I feel like a lot of what we have to learn stems from like our childhood,
mhm
like learning boundaries because so many times boundaries were blurred
mhm
without us even realizing.
yeah
So like the people pleasing aspect of it is so crazy to me because like even now as an adult, I still find or catch myself like trying not to be the people pleaser or the
mhm
yes man of saying yes, yes, yes to
mhm
everything when I have to learn that like no is a complete sentence. Like it doesn't
that
have to have any explanation.
that and I would say like learning to be selfish and understanding that it's okay to be selfish at times. It's
Yeah.
okay to prioritize your mental health, your physical, whatever, before like you need to make sure you're able to present yourself before presenting yourself to others, if that makes
Mhm.
sense, or for others.
Yeah. That's so interesting. Okay, so tell me about a time that you've had to set a boundary? Because you read
Mm.
books to educate yourself, which now that we're like talking, I'm like, okay, maybe I gotta pick up those couple of books that
Mhm.
you're recommending. But tell me about a time that you had to set a boundary, and was it ever met with someone who guilt tripped you or was very hesitant when it came to the boundary that you set in place?
So as I was going on in my healing journey, I had met someone,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember deeper into our connection.
Okay.
um I was in school and I was comfortable with this person, know
Okay.
this person for a very long time.
Okay.
And our we started getting closer and closer, so there was trust.
Mm-hmm.
And this person had found out, like, oh, like my living situation, and was like, oh, well, while you're in school.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of had like this cycle of, like, on his off days I would either be over there with him or he would be with me. And it was kind of like a hard thing because of certain obstacles presenting themselves, like he couldn't necessarily be there when I'm there and then leave when I leave, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, okay, well, how about when you go to school, I'll stay at your place and then wait for you to come back. And then, yeah,
Yeah.
mind you, at that time I was doing full time,
Okay.
and I was doing full time school, so it was 8 hours of me being gone. And as much as I known this person for a long time, and as much as me and this person had a relationship,
Okay.
um, I was still going through my healing, and there were certain things, like leaving that DV relationship. There was a lot of scars, and one of them was, like, being comfortable again with being alone with, like, a male, like in the housing.
Mm-hmm.
um so yeah, so one of those things is like being okay with, side note, the puppy from last
Yes, what's his
episode.
name?
His name is Psalms.
Oh.
He is such an angel. I love him.
And if we're looking over there, it's because he's here and
Mhm.
he's making a little noise trying to get played with. So
Yeah.
we're over there trying to get distracted. But
But
so you've known this person for so long,
mhm.
and he's asking like, "Oh, well, you're working full time,
No,
or was
I'm
it
at school.
school?
I'm at
Oh, at
school for
school.
full
Okay,
time. He was there during his off days, and he was like, "Well, like, I'll just stay here until you come
okay,
back home." And since there was already a commitment,
yeah,
like I said, a relationship, and then too, I've known this person for years. Like, I've basically grew up with a person.
mhm,
Maybe in his head he thought, like, it was okay to ask that, which it's never wrong to ask a question. But
mm,
at least to me, it was just like I said, I was still in my healing journey. He was aware of that, but I don't think he never really understood the severity of, like, how much healing I needed.
okay,
And in my room, in my place, like, it's not anything that's like I'm being secretive and I'm hiding it from him because
you
anything
got a
bad.
side thing going on, yeah,
But it was just some things, some topics, some things that I faced in my life, freshly out of that DV relationship. There were conversations that wouldn't have benefited my relationship if I brought it up.
mm,
It was more beneficial for me to deal with these things, to write these things down, to understand what I'm feeling, and kind of like love myself through the journey, rather than opening up this conversation to a person and them meeting it with some type of judgment because they are my new partner. You know what I mean?
mhm,
So because of those things, I've always loved painting, and I got into that. The whole, like, tap into what you used to do, I was doing that.
mhm,
And so there was just a lot of private things scattered around my place, scattered around my home. Not to say that, I mean, no, I'm going to say it. I felt like he was very nosy. I felt like, yeah, for sure, if I wasn't there, oh, he was going to be looking through some
so he'd be
drawers. Like,
snooping, uh-huh,
and see, with me, the whole thing with boundaries, because I know you said after the description there was a sentence that kind of made sense but didn't, about treating, what is it said, learning how or people, Learning.
Boundaries are how we teach people how to treat us and how we respect others in return.
Okay, so to me, when I had gone to his place and I was over there and he was working and I never once went through his stuff. I never once, and I was at his home and in his room often, like by myself, and I never did that because I don't want people to do that to me, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
So to me, it was like, but I know that
He
he
wouldn't
was
have had,
Snoopy. Yeah,
yeah.
that he wouldn't have had the same kind of like, and that's okay. People are different, you
Yeah.
know. But I was very respectful of people's privacy and I didn't feel like it was going to be reciprocated. So I had told him, like, like for a long, 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 long time, he never stepped foot like in my apartment. And then after he did, like, just because you made it through stage one and now you're in here,
Yeah.
you're not going to try to speed your way through and now you're going to be chilling here, napping here, whatever, while I'm not here. That's like a whole different thing.
Mhm.
So, ooh, excuse me. When I had told him about, um, I basically said, like, I'm not really comfortable with you being there. Like,
Yeah.
it was a hard thing for me to say because in a relationship, there could be thoughts of like, okay, well, why,
Yeah.
And his response was very much was like, well, we're with, like, we've been together for a while. Like, why is it, like, why don't you feel comfortable? Like, you've
Mhm.
been in my place, like, and that, let me just say, like, please, like, by you doing that, if you ever answer someone like that, like if someone's telling you, like, hey, like, no, like, or I don't want to go out, or like, no, like, don't continue it because it makes that person so uncomfortable. And when he challenged my boundary by
Mm.
saying, like, oh, well, we've been together, like, why don't you feel comfortable? Like, I've left you in my place, like, alone. So, and it was just like, I know that I'm not doing anything wrong, and it's just like, I just respect my privacy so much, and I respect everyone's privacy, that I would want you to do the same. But it was still challenged, and it was almost like flipped into like, that's weird. Like, everything about me, but you don't feel comfortable with me being in your place.
Mhm.
And it was just like, I don't have to explain to you why. But if I'm being completely honest, it was kind of like, it's a hard thing. Like, it's a
Yeah.
hard thing to, one, have the strength to
Set the
speak
boundary.
about a boundary and
Yeah.
placing it, and when it's challenged, to have to sit in that uncomfortable position for a little bit, but then you have to determine quickly, like, am I going to allow this person to fully push my
Mm.
boundary away from them, or am I going to stand tall and be like, hey, like, think what you think, but at the end of the day, it's not none of that, and I just respect my, like, I'm just not comfortable right now.
Mhm.
So
That's
that was like
crazy.
freshly out of that. With that person, I was learning to set these things. I was
Mhm. Learning to be
finding my
vocal.
voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Which is crazy because I like the fact that you use the word challenge, because when it comes to boundaries, like, you learn quickly that a lot of the people that you set those boundaries with
Mhm.
tend to challenge you on those boundaries. Like, and through therapy, I learned that, and I think we said it in last episode, but I can't be sure. The people who are uncomfortable with boundaries are the people that most are usually the ones who just want,
Benefit from it.
yeah,
Mhm.
from then, yeah, benefit from your uncomfortability. Like, um, I just find it so interesting that you said the word challenge, because again, I just feel like that's what tends to happen
Mhm.
with boundaries a lot. And even the fact that he was just like, well, like, you're at my place all the time. Like,
Mhm.
why can't I be at your place? And I also like the fact that you reiterated, like, you need to make a choice whether you're going to allow those boundaries to be blurred, or you're going to stand tall and be like, no, this is my boundary. And if you respect me enough, then
Mhm.
you're going to respect the boundary that I'm putting in place.
Mhm.
So that was interesting. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have a personal boundary that I've set. While I'm listening to you talk, I have two boundaries that I had to set.
Uh-huh.
We talk about mom all the time in this podcast, and I had to set two major boundaries with mom. They don't get to see this, but before we hit the start, the record button,
Mhm.
we talk about what we're going to talk about in this setting.
Mhm.
And 9 times out of 10, we talk about like, okay, this is the topic. What are we gonna say? What are the examples that we're gonna put out there?
Yeah.
And I had one example that I thought this is a really good boundary. But as I'm hearing you speak, another example came up in my
Mhm.
head. So I think just to make it, I think I'm gonna go with a lesser one, but
Mhm.
still big enough. We have two other siblings,
Mhm.
A and S, and we didn't get to grow up with them.
Mhm.
But one of the big boundaries that I had to set with mom is growing up, she treated me as the second mom in the household.
Mhm.
And the thing that she would do was like, okay, this is your responsibility. So we have like a situation where one of our sisters is just, not going through a rough patch.
Yeah.
And it's personal reasons, like obviously they're minors, so I'm going to respect the fact that they're minors. I'm not going to put too much out there, but personal reasons. Basically, the whole situation is that mom was constantly calling me
Yeah.
to ask me about that sibling, to know what the next information was. And there was just a situation where we're kind of like debating on what we're going to do next.
Mhm.
And a family member who, well, it's mom's half sister,
Mhm.
reaches out to me via Instagram. And
Mhm.
basically, like, it's telling me that it's like my, basically, to whatever we were deciding on, that it's my responsibility or something like along those
Mhm.
lines. Or to that she agrees that we should take whatever step we were thinking about.
Mhm.
And so then I responded with that to that thing. I was pissed off first and foremost because it's like was made to feel like, once again, mom's putting on the adult responsibility
Onto you.
onto me.
Mhm.
And so I told that family member, I was like, first off, like, I had to set that boundary of, I'm not the mom. Like, this isn't my responsibility. Like, so I had to set that boundary with that family member, basically let her know that this isn't my responsibility.
Oh
Like, to
yeah.
be constantly checking up on my sister. Like, yes, she's my sister, but this isn't my responsibility.
Mhm.
Mom needs to be the adult and basically do it on her own.
Yeah.
And so that's a boundary that I had to set. And it was funny because that family member was like, you know what, you're right. Like, so oftentimes, like, I forget that I have to set that boundary with my mom.
Mhm.
And it was just crazy to see like how really boundaries happen with everyone and everyone struggles with it.
Mhm.
So, yeah, that's one of the boundaries that I had to put. And it wasn't like major,
Yeah.
but I did set that boundary of like, I'm not the adult, so mom needs to figure it out. So, I like the fact that you shared that boundary that you had to set with that ex. I think it
Mhm.
was very, like, it just goes to show that even in relationships, we have to set those boundaries. So, we talk a lot about mom in this podcast.
Mhm.
Obviously, our trauma stems from her.
Mm.
So, we talk about her a lot.
Yeah.
But one of the boundaries that I feel like I had to set with mom was actually even in a relationship. And it's
Mhm.
crazy because it's not even with a relationship with my partner, it was a relationship with mom.
Oh.
So, yeah. So, I've been with my partner for going on 5 years this
Mhm.
year. And I remember when we first started dating, and I met my partner through Tinder. So, y'all,
Oh,
yeah?
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
Oh, well, yeah.
Oh,
Those
okay.
dating apps do work, y'all. So those dating
Honestly, this is the first time I found out about that, and I don't know how to feel about that. I mean, I'm glad that
like a
it
whole
worked
stranger.
out. Yeah, but I didn't know that this is how it started. But
No.
I'm happy.
Yeah. She's like,
It
I
worked
think,
out.
yeah, it did work out. But it's funny because y'all, dating were like, those dating apps do work. You never know. But we had that I met my partner through Tinder. And mom's really big into crystals and readings and
Like
like,
spirituality.
yeah, that's spirituality, that realm, right, of things.
Mhm.
And for me, it was like, I don't really believe in readings or crystals. Like, I'm more about God than like crystals and stuff like that. Um, so I remember she had a friend or something, and we did a reading at her house.
Mhm.
And mind you, this is like probably like 2 months into me having this relationship, like that talking stage with my partner. And so she did a reading, and I was like, I really don't believe in this, but I'm going to do it for mom. So I did the reading.
You did it with her?
Yes, not
Okay.
with her. So mom got her separate reading, and then I had my own reading.
Oh, okay.
But it was at her house, at mom's house.
Oh.
So, yeah. So we're talking and everything. And the lady goes on, and mom asks about like love, right? Like, what's her love look like, or is going to look like? And I don't even know what you call them. Whoever,
The cards, the tarot?
yeah, basically said that the person that I'm with is only with me for money. And ever since then, my mom switched up.
What do you mean?
Like, she switched up in the sense of like when I introduced my partner to mom, the energy, and you know, mom, like if she doesn't agree with something, if she dislikes something, oh,
She
she,
doesn't have to say it, it's just her energy changes, or like her face will literally tell you what her mouth doesn't. Yeah.
yes. So the moment that that was said and I introduced my partner to her, you could tell that basically mom wasn't giving my partner the time of day, like at all.
A
Like the energy,
chance or
like
like
a chance. Like she
mhm.
just had that mentality of this person is only with you for money. So she automatically just judged her based off of that.
Mhm.
Didn't give her the time of day to get to know her, to ask her where she's from, like anything. It was just overshadowed by the fact that this reader said that this is who, why, this is my love interest is basically with me for money.
Mhm.
And that completely overshadowed it.
Yeah.
So I had to set that boundary. And me and mom got into a big,
What boundary did you set?
the, well, actually, this is what the boundary, okay, so it instilled this.
Okay.
So I could already tell the shift of energy, right?
Mhm.
So I brought it up to mom and I was like, look, like, you're not giving my partner like a chance. Like,
Mhm.
you're judging her based off of this. And I don't believe in this. Like, you're not even getting to know her.
Yeah.
And she was just basically very adamant on the fact that no, she's only with you for money. This is what it is. Blah 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 blah.
Closed-minded
A
parents is
hundred
what we're dealing
percent.
with right now.
100%. So I could just tell that every time I would bring like my partner over, like no le pelaba, like she could care less.
Lack of attention or
Like
lack of
in
care
yeah,
for attention.
interest, like
Uh-huh.
whatever. So I could just feel it. And every time it would make me uncomfortable. I know it would make my partner uncomfortable. Like,
Mhm.
imagine going to your like to your girlfriend's house and you could tell that
Not being
something's off.
welcome? Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Like, that's so awful compared to like where her family was very welcoming. Like, they would treat me like their own basically off the start. So it's just like I could tell that that wasn't the case with mom. And it got so big, and because I didn't set that boundary, because I didn't communicate with mom, like, and I'm still learning when it comes to boundaries, but because I didn't tell her like how much this hurt me, or like I did, but I don't think she understood to what like level.
Mhm.
And I had to basically, it got so big, sister, that I cut off mom for a whole year because she wasn't giving my then partner a chance, because she had that idea of this person's only with you for money.
Mhm.
And I cut her off for a whole year. I didn't talk to her. My 21st, I think it was my 21st, 22nd birthday, like I didn't celebrate with her.
Mhm.
Like, she missed a whole year of my life.
Was this after, did you decide to cut her off just because of what she was doing, or did you already talk to her about the boundary you're placing of like, hey, if you continue to do this, then I will, like, did that conversation happen, or did you just like pull away as like, okay, you're not getting it?
I think it was, you're not getting it. Like, you're
So
not
you still
getting how.
hadn't voiced
Yes, I
yet.
didn't voice that boundary.
Why?
So, oh, because I feel like it was so unnecessary to me. Here's where I feel like now looking back, I feel like had I set that boundary early on, it would
Mhm.
have benefited both her. But here's the thing, when it comes to mom, you have to be very consistent of boundaries. And like you
Yeah.
she's a woman who doesn't understand boundaries, and maybe it's because of a culture, like a cultural aspect of like what are boundaries. Boundaries don't exist in our Hispanic culture.
That's true. It's very rare for, and that's why I think it's very important that you're bringing this up with, like, it being okay to set these boundaries with parents, because I feel like growing up, it's always like the whole machismo thing that
Mhm.
we spoke about. Same thing with like the males and the woman. It's the
Mhm.
same thing as like the parents as a whole and the child. Like, it's what they say and nothing else.
Yeah.
And I think it's very important to bring that awareness and that light of like, it is okay to be respectful and to put a boundary if your parent is not respecting it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I just feel like I struggled with that because maybe a little bit part of it's like I said, a lot of boundaries stems from our
Mhm.
childhood of like those blurred lines, right?
Yeah.
And for me it was like, well, every time I spoke up, they it wasn't respected.
Mhm.
So as an adult, as I got older, it's just like that was the mentality of every time I speak up, it's not respected. It's not like people don't care what I have to
Mhm.
say. So why is she gonna care?
So you felt like it wasn't worth it because she wasn't gonna listen regardless. Like, it wasn't gonna make a difference.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
So I just, and it also, it's like in the back of my head, it's like I'm your daughter, and if
Mhm.
this is who I'm bringing to your table, like, or who I feel worthy enough to be invited, because I never dated like excessively where I would bring someone home all the
Right.
time. Like,
And then too, that's not like for our family. It's very like only bring them if you're committed
serious,
and
yeah.
damn near, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so it's like I'm bringing this person because obviously I see a future with this person, and I love, and also it was my first ever, like I came out because of this person.
Mhm.
So it was very serious to me
Mhm.
because I just felt like like I said, like this, I came out for this person. I was questioning my sexuality, but obviously I viewed this person as someone very special that I cared enough to bring this person and introduce this person to my mom.
Yeah.
So for her not to give her the time of day, it's not like that my mom was homophobic, because we're all gay on this side of the family, not
Our
to.
family is the flag. That's
No,
what it is. Like, our family is the flag, and
yeah.
that's it.
So it wasn't that mom was homophobic or anything. It was
Mhm.
just like that she just wasn't giving her the time of day.
That, and that she believed what this person, like, because her spirituality is so deep rooted, like she was blindsided and believed this person, which we all know, like, just because someone says or something doesn't mean that it's truthful.
Mhm.
9 times out of 10, there might be a little default, and there was a default and she just ran with it, and it that sucks. Like, how
Yeah.
was it dealing with a parent that was like hard-headed? I know this is about boundaries, but like, I'm curious because it
I
happens.
I feel like I said, I just feel like my voice wasn't heard. Like it was so hard to be put in that situation because it was first and foremost so uncomfortable,
Mm,
because I love mom, and like she's always like nothing's gonna change regardless. She's always gonna be the woman who gave birth to me.
mhm.
But at the same time, like I felt like I was being placed between two different people, like the person that I'm getting to know and I'm growing relationship with versus the person who gave birth to me. So
Yeah.
like how do you choose between both of them, or like, you got to pick a side.
That, and then too, I would say like maybe the dynamic, because even though yes, this is our mother, remember that we didn't grow up
Mhm.
like this is our mother and she actually raised us and was there and showered us and all this. Like, no, this is a mother that pushed us, brought us to light, and was later given an opportunity to redeem the title of a mother.
Yeah.
So I feel like it must have been hard for you to, one, like you said, like figure out like, okay, I'm starting to get to know this person, and also the relationship with mom, because at least for me, like a lot of the times, sometimes it's like when there's a lack of understanding, a lack of accepting like boundaries
Mhm.
and things, like to me it's like, okay, well, I expect this from you, being that you were absent so much and you've
Right.
disrespected me as a person for so long. I expect you to withhold this without meeting me with defiance.
Yeah.
And having her not understand that, must have been really difficult and frustrating because it's like, okay, I don't need to give you this chance, but I am, and
Yeah.
you're still like, you it's almost like you still have the audacity to put this woman's beliefs against my happiness and my relationship right now
Yeah.
with both you and my partner.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it was just, I feel like what you said, it was like to deal with someone so hard headed,
Mhm.
the hurt underneath it. The hurt of the fact that, like, kind of like what you said, and oh my gosh, you validated me so well. The fact that, like, this, like, and I was gonna say this woman, but my mom had the audacity to just question me. Like, she doesn't, and till this day, like, I feel like she's starting to get to know me, but she doesn't know me. And that's sad. Like,
Yeah.
that's sad because it's like, I have a foster mom who wholeheartedly knows me.
Yeah.
She knows me in the short time that I was with her. She knows what irks me. She knows, like, how I am. She just knows me as her
Mhm.
daughter, like, you know. And when we were getting back into that relationship and I had brought this person over, it's like, you don't know me. Like,
With our
I'm,
biological mom,
yeah,
yeah.
with my biological mom, like, you don't know me, and yet you still have, like you said, the audacity to question my decisions, to
Mhm.
think that you have the right to even
Mhm.
question my decisions.
Mhm.
Like, you should, and it made me feel like you should be grateful because I still brought this person
Mhm.
into, to introduce you to her, and you haven't been present in my life.
Mhm.
So I feel like when I cut her off, it was kind of just a way of me, like, I danced around it. I
Mhm.
didn't want to set that boundary because for so long I've been a people pleaser,
Mhm.
and I just didn't know how to have that hard conversation. And also, if I'm being honest, it was so much easier to cut off mom because it's going to sound really messed up, but there's no strings attached there.
Mhm.
Emotionally, like, there's just no strings attached. Like,
Mhm.
yes, she's my mom. Yes, I have love for her,
Mhm.
but it is so much easier for me to cut someone off that I have no relationship with
Mhm.
her. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So yeah, I just danced around it. It was really hard, and I did end up cutting mom off. It was during the time that we mentioned last episode that
I had mentioned about bringing that significant other over
mhm,
for Thanksgiving. She wasn't a part of that Thanksgiving, and it was during that time. The reason why she wasn't present was because of this situation that was going on.
yeah.
Mhm.
So it was that whole year that I missed out, and it's just crazy. But when I came back, I decided to, and it was crazy because I blocked her on everything. Like, I didn't want anything to do with her.
Oh,
Yeah,
completely cut off.
completely. Like, I didn't want any association because it was coming from a lack of, like, hurt.
Mhm.
Of hurt that you haven't been a bomb to me, and you're still being very unsupportive,
Mhm.
and you're acting
Even when
like,
I give you the chance to be
yeah.
that, you're showing me otherwise.
Exactly. So it was just like coming from a place of hurt. So I completely cut her off.
Mhm.
I cut off you because I just
Mhm.
didn't want no ties from anyone. And it
Yeah.
was like, even then I, like, acknowledged the fact that I shouldn't have cut you off, but I just didn't want to be associated with anyone when it came to our family.
And I respect that because one thing about our mother is one way or another she's gonna try to get information. She
Mhm.
means well, yes, but it's just like I understand why it was that you chose to cut me off because you know that she would have been bothering me about you, knowing that I had yeah,
Yeah.
she knew that we had open communication. It was gonna be my relationship with my mom was gonna turn into me informing her about you. And if that's
Yeah.
not what you wanted because you didn't feel seen, respected, or like your boundary was respected, then that's, I believe it's okay to like have distance
Yeah.
between those people that disrespect and go against your wishes. But I also feel like in this situation, and I feel like you learn from it, like
Yeah.
it's also unfair to that person without you giving them a chance of, this is the boundary I'm putting. If
Mhm.
you don't listen to me, then I am going to take matters into my own because that's only fair,
Yeah.
you know? But at the same time, this whole situation a little sticky because
Yeah.
mom is very, once she's very stuck in her ways. Like once her mind is made up, it's very hard. And to bring into the whole like spirituality thing, it was just like no, no, no. Like she's
Yeah.
into it.
Yes.
Mhm.
So, of course, once I came back, because I believe I was the one who reached unblocked her from Instagram and reached out.
Mhm.
And it was when I was ready and I reached out. And by that time I had, gosh, I think I had just reached my 1 year anniversary with my partner, and I reached out and I basically told mom this is when I learned, to set that boundary. Like, and I was very clear and concise. Like, if I'm with this person and
Mhm.
this is who I see as my person, I will not tolerate any disrespect. To me, it's like if you're disrespecting someone I love, then you're disrespecting me.
Mhm.
Kind of like the way that you said in the other episode. It was
About
like,
relationships?
yeah, about
Mhm.
that best friend of yours
Mhm.
who, your abuser was basically saying, like, trying to put those seeds of like, well, he's like disrespectful, and you had to set that, even that boundary right there of
Mhm.
like, unless he flirts with me knowing that I'm in a commitment,
Mhm.
unless he does something disrespectful to me or to you as my partner.
I think I had said like the only reason I would cut him off is if he disrespects you or disrespects me, because I like if he flirts with me knowing I have a
Mm-hmm.
situation, then in my head I don't take it as anything else but you must think I'm X, Y, and Z and I'm not that girl, therefore you're
Yeah.
disrespecting me by flirting with me knowing that I have this situation.
Yeah.
So is it like somewhat similar?
Yeah,
Just
it
a
was exactly like that. So it's like, it's just kind of like, if you're disrespecting my partner, then you're
disrespecting
disrespecting
me,
me.
yeah.
So I had to set that boundary with mom very early on of, you are to, if I even feel any shift of energy, because I'm
Mhm.
very good at, one of the things that I will say is I read you like an open
We're
book.
very observant.
Oh, the first time you ever meet me, like, I'm very quiet. A lot of people say I'm shy, and I am very shy. I'm very shy. I'm quiet. I'm very reserved, keep to myself. The people that are around me is because I choose to have those people around me. Like,
Mhm.
I just been hurt so many times that I feel like that's how I'm naturally like. So when I meet someone, I'm very quiet, but I sit there and I watch everything. I
Yeah.
watch your mannerism, I watch the way you treat people, the way you talk. Like Wendy has something that I love that you always say and I keep in the back of my head is, you let someone talk long enough, they'll tell you exactly who you
Exactly
are.
who they are.
Yes.
Yes.
So I love sitting back and just watching people. And then
Mhm.
that's how I judge. So I told mom, like, if there's even a slight little shift of an energy, a tone, anything to make my partner feel uncomfortable, don't think for a second that I won't cut you off again. And
Mhm.
this time you're losing me forever.
Yeah.
And it sounds harsh now that I say it, but I told mom straight up, like, and I've had conversations in therapy and with that foster mom that I see her as my mom. Like, I've had those conversations of like, and maybe it won't sound harsh to the viewers because they have been hearing glimpse of our story, and like,
Mhm.
I've had those conversations with coworkers who are like, how can you forgive your mom after everything
Mhm.
that she's put you through? And I feel like when it came to this boundary, it's like, and I tell everyone, it's like, I have no hesitation cutting you off because for so long you didn't grow up with me.
You had me cut off.
Yeah, you had me cut off. Those 6 years you disappeared, I grew up with random people.
Mhm.
Random people
6 plus.
putting their attention onto me, pouring their love into me, like fixing me up, like, we don't have that emotional tie that
Mhm.
bonds us forever for life, where it's like some people are like, oh my gosh, if my mom, like, you know I don't speak with my mom for like 2 weeks, it's the end of the world. Like, they have that strong deep connection, right? Like, where
And
they're
that's so
texting.
and that's so crazy to me, and I feel like maybe a lot of kids in the system, like, we cannot, like, relate, but it's, like, even just, like, hearing people talk about their cousins and how, like, they're so close, and it's like, "Oh, yeah, it's like I'm closer to my cousins than my mom or my siblings," and it's just,
Yeah.
like, for us, it's just, like, we are all we know.
Mhm.
When it comes to our family dynamic, this is the closest that we are with anyone in our family because
Mhm.
we grew up with each other. But even our mom, like, yeah, we're close and loving to her, but it's a different thing. Like, it's not
Yeah.
our grandma the same thing. It's not like the whole upbringing of, oh, go to grandma's house and she bakes you cookies and you know
Yeah.
her growing up and you just love her, and we love her, but there's that
It's like a
emotional
different.
disconnect that's just like,
Yes.
you're my aunt, you're my grandma, you're my X, Y, and Z, but that emotional part to it, it's like it's almost like just like a slap title,
Yeah.
and it's like we're awkwardly trying to build up to that, but remember, we're also adults.
Yeah.
So like you do that when you're growing up, not when you're an adult and it's just like I don't know, it's
Yeah.
just so weird.
It's so weird, but I love that you fact like you said like this is the closest. Like
Mhm.
I feel like I would hurt 10 times more if I ever lost you,
Mhm.
whereas if I hurt like if I lost mom.
Mhm. Or
Like
another family member.
yeah, like it would hurt me worse if I ever lost that disconnect with you because I did grow up with you.
Mhm.
Like even if we separated for a little bit, we still grew up with each other.
Yeah.
So it's like I know you and I know your mannerism, like I
Mhm.
just know you as my sister. So it's just
Yeah.
like it's a different type of bond. I feel like
Mhm.
that's how it is. It's a different bond emotionally.
Mhm.
So I just yeah, I had to set that boundary with mom of like basically be very harsh with her and say like you not that you don't mean nothing to me, it's just the fact that it does not hurt me if I cut you off.
I wanted to ask because you had said, or you had started to say it, but I think I cut you off, or you just like conversation led somewhere else. But
Uh-huh.
you had said like maybe to the viewers it might be harsh the way you said it. So I'm curious, did you say it through messages over the phone? Was it in person? Because
It
I feel like in
wasn't in
person.
person. It was I think it was reiterated in person, but when I initially reached out, I think it was over text.
Okay.
And I just basically kind of just, was like I said, it might seem harsh. It won't seem harsh to the viewers, but it was kind of like along the lines of like don't think that I won't hesitate to cut you off again cuz it will.
I
Cuz I
don't
will.
I don't think it's harsh. I think it's very blunt and straight to the point.
Yeah.
Another thing like you viewers will learn when our mom is here, even just like throughout the story or like our timeline and our upbringing and what we choose to share. Like our mother, our family are is very blunt. So
Mhm.
that runs in our family, in our blood. Like same way our mom is to us, like we have that for her. And I
Yeah.
feel like someone that has consistently made you feel uncomfortable, like not to say it's right, but
Mhm.
I don't think you were in the wrong for being blunt, because sometimes like you said, you tried dancing around the bush by removing yourself, and even then she didn't get the point,
Mhm.
up until you're like, hey, you seen what I did, now if you continue this, like I'm giving you like another opportunity, another chance on
Mhm.
top of all the chances that we've like given her, to do else, to
Yeah.
do different.
Yeah. And it was just like before I cut her off. Oh, I think I now remember why I felt like I was to the like my back against two walls
Mhm.
because mom was talking, I want to say like shit about my partner, but she was like giving her 2 cents. And mom's very good at giving her 2 cents. Like sometimes, no offense, mom, you be giving your opinion when I didn't ask for your opinion. Like, you know, but she'd be putting in those 2 cents. So she was putting in her 2 cents in my relationship. And then obviously I go and I tell my partner, which is my wrongdoing. I shouldn't have. I just should have just kept it in the back of my head. But I would then go tell my partner what my mom was saying about her. And so then that created even more tension.
Mm.
And then so then my partner was talking SIHIT about my mom. Oh, it was even
I
SIHIT.
would say responding, because
Yeah.
if I heard anyone say anything about me, I
Yeah.
would respond.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
So she was
Yep. Yeah.
she was responding to what mom would say, and again it was just that tension of like who am I choosing? I
Mhm.
don't want to choose between either one of you. So I had to set that boundary with mom,
Mhm.
and then I also had to set that boundary with my partner. I
Mhm.
don't want to hear anything bad about my mom, and to mom, I don't want to hear anything bad about my partner. If either one of you choose to say something bad about either one like to each about each other,
Mhm.
you both will lose me. I don't have ties to anyone at this point. Like, you both will equally lose me. And if that's a pill you want to swallow, by all means, go for it. So, yeah.
Was that hard? Like, cause now you're saying like you bring in like the conversation about like your partner,
Mm-hmm.
and you did say like you were the one that opened that can of worms of like telling your partner what your mom was
Yeah.
saying, and then you were basically the seed. You planted a seed of reaction in her, and then
Yeah.
you also chose to kind of like reverse and be like, actually don't speak about it. That's very important,
Yeah.
because I feel like in situations it can be like that, where it's like, uh-oh, like you mess up, and some people, they don't say anything and stay in that uncomfortable state. In this example, it could have been like not telling your partner or your mom anything, because in
Yeah.
your head it's like, well, I did this, so like I should just deal with it.
Yeah.
I think that it was something very strong and like powerful that
Thank
you were
you.
able to like push through that and be like, you know what, I messed up, but like, hey, moving forward, I don't want this type of
Yeah.
dynamic between this person and this person.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so hard, sister. It was just like you said, when I opened that kind of worms, and the reason that I went and I would speak about what my mom would say, because I didn't have anyone to talk to.
Yeah.
Like I just didn't, and at the time, like my partner was the closest
Mhm.
that I was getting to someone. Like I said, I've always been very reserved. I've kept to myself, and I just found comfort in her.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was hard. It was a hard pill to swallow, but at the end of the day, when I decided to open up to mom and come back, it was like, this is where I make amends, and it's basically you both need to stop. I'm not choosing either one of you. Like it's just
Yeah.
not gonna happen again, because I know in that year, yes, I did grow like a stronger relationship. I mean, going on 5 years, that's crazy,
Mhm.
but with my partner, but at the same time it just hurt me at the it hurt me too, because I felt like, yes, I grew with my partner, but I also lost my mom, and I don't
You're
ever
put
want.
in an uncomfortable situation.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a boundary that I had to set, and it was a very hard boundary. And you know what, it was good. It was a good boundary, because now both of them are very on, like, okay, this is the boundary that is set in place, and I have to respect it, because we're gonna lose her.
How did mother react to your boundary?
I think she reacted good. I think it To be honest, I think had I maybe it all worked out on its own, because like you said, like mom's very stern in her ways of how
Mhm.
she is. I think she didn't realize that I was serious. And losing me for a whole year, no communication, no ties, like to ask you, like, oh, have you heard from
Mhm.
Daisy, like how is she, like completely cut everyone off. Like I think it made it sink in that whole year of like, damn, like I lost my child, like I just got her back and now I'm losing her again, and this time
Because of my actions.
because of my actions,
Mhm.
like not because I disappeared, but because of what I did. Like I think once I reiterated myself into the situation, I think it hit deeper of like, she's not playing.
Yeah.
Like she will not play up what she just told me, and she did it once, she will do it again wholeheartedly. So I think she took it well.
And I want to applaud you for that because that's really good. Like, those are good things, good traits, good qualities to build and to have because it's, I feel like it's an important thing to like maneuver, like, that you
Mhm.
need to maneuver the world because there's going to be some, like, the examples that we're saying, like, sometimes they are challenged or sometimes, like, they aren't taken serious.
Mhm.
And it's important to be confident in yourself because it's very easy and like I'm gonna say, or if you could say it again, what you had said about that the people that reject your
Boundaries.
boundaries are the ones that are reaping from them
Yeah.
more. um yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah.
I kind of want to touch base on like a different example. How
Okay.
on this one, even though it caused you to be gone for like a year,
Mhm.
at least mom's reaction was okay, somewhat like positive,
Yeah.
and you guys were able to move forward, work through it, and
Yeah.
now you guys are great.
Yeah.
Um, I want to touch base on and something that I went through, well, we went through, because
Mhm.
I don't know if you went through the same thing,
Okay.
but it was very common. We were in our first foster home.
Yeah.
We were probably
So that's a little
uh
complicated. Okay, maybe I can put it into terms. So when we first got removed, I was 7 years old. Wendy was 4.
or 3, yeah.
No, we're 3 years apart.
7.
6, 5,
So
4.
me and
We're
Ange.
bad at math. Yeah. So you were 4.
Uh-huh.
We were placed in our first foster home
Uh-huh.
for 3 years. When mom got custody with us for less than a year, when we were removed the second time, me and Wendy were placed back in that original first foster home, and then
Mhm.
our two sisters were put in
Taken
a
to a different
different foster
one.
home and then later adopted, and they didn't grow up in the system.
Mhm.
So we were with those foster parents for 3 years, and then I was 10, and we didn't leave that foster home until I was 16. So 6 years plus three, 9 years. They knew us
Mhm.
for 9 years. Yeah.
So, and also in this household, it was a Hispanic household, very traditional, old school Hispanic household.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, let's get this going. So, in that household, we kind of touched a bit on how they were, like the whole thing with like our last episode about the machismo and how like I had this conversation with you recently, like I don't ever remember seeing our foster mom, even if it was wrong, like I never saw her like speak up, or if she did, it was like, but like it's just your dad, like it's just very like
Mhm.
and so that's the relationship that we kind of see when it comes to like the parental
Mhm.
between each other and their friends, family, whatever. But
Mhm.
now let's get into the parents and the child dynamic.
Yeah. And it doesn't I do want to say before you tell your
Mhm.
story, like this isn't just to put the blame on them, because it happens a lot of outside,
Yeah.
even in our cultures.
Mhm.
Parents tend to have this mindset of, I'm the adult
Mhm.
and you're the child.
Mhm.
So I have the final say, and I don't care about what you have to say.
Mhm.
So it just so happened that we were placed in this foster home that was very, first off, we were really, it felt good because they really introduced us to our culture, and
Mhm.
like we had that great, where a lot of people are placed in foster homes and they don't get their culture.
Yeah.
So we were just very lucky,
Fortunate,
yeah, to
yeah.
have that,
Upbringing.
yeah, to be
Mhm.
still introduced into our culture and understand our culture.
Mhm.
So yeah, but go ahead.
So, yeah, so with the dynamic between the parents and the kids, I would say, it was very black and white.
Mhm.
Um, we used to have these punishments that because we were in the system, they couldn't do anything, couldn't abuse us, thank God. But what they
They didn't
would
abuse
do,
us physically,
yeah, but
but
mentally,
emotionally,
psychologically,
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 mentally, yes.
yeah.
That was a different type of abuse.
Mhm.
And I will give it to them that they had two boys growing up, so working with
Working
raising
with
two
girls.
young girls, I will give them the benefit of the doubt. It was hard, it was complicated, it was their first time, like I get it. But some things, I'm just going to say I owe them a lot, but some things I just feel like you guys messed me up a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean a lot. Like I still carry a lot of the things. Yeah.
And not to
So,
say like, but it's okay, but I feel like my sister's very compassionate and is very understanding, and we know like it's also their first time,
mhm.
dealing with a child on its own is a difficult thing because it comes
Mhm.
with no instructions, but also dealing with a child that has been removed due to
Trauma.
trauma,
Yeah.
abuse, neglect, like there's
So much more
so many
dynamics.
reasons
Yeah.
as to why a child could be placed into the system. It's it's not just you working with this strange child, but it's also you working with them throughout these triggers, it's really hard. And we were females and we were siblings, so it's like we came with the same baggage
Yeah.
times two. It
Yeah.
was really heavy. But one of the things, since we're talking about boundaries, a situation that I went through was actually with a father figure.
Mhm.
A lot of the times, and like I said before, people would say like, "Oh, I was a bad kid," and yes, like I probably was getting two things. I probably was lying. I probably was doing, what little kids do. Okay, however, I feel like the whole punishment thing that I was talking about earlier, the whole planas thing, basically what it is just like you copying a book.
So they would give you, so think of a chapter book, or think
Mhm.
about any book, honestly. They would give you a certain amount of,
Pages on a notebook.
yeah, to copy that book line for line. So say like you were punished, because they couldn't hit you, obviously.
Mhm.
So their punishment was, okay, here's this thick chapter book. Out of this chapter book, the first pages on that notebook,
Mhm.
that spiral notebook, I need you to I need you to write 20 pages. So you would grab the chapter book, you would open the notebook, word for word, everything that said until you hit 20 on that notebook.
And do you remember? Oh my god, I used to. This is so crazy. This is so sad. But this is a side note. But do you remember how like the notebooks, like there was the wide ruled and then the college ruled?
Yes.
Oh
Fight
my
for
god.
everything, finesse the system by always getting wide ruled because those college rule books,
But
oh,
I don't know if you got caught. I got caught. Basically, I think he realized like los riñones, like the
the lines.
lines were spaced out, and if the wide rule, like you fill up the page quicker versus the college rules, that's just like these thin freaking lines. I don't know how many freaking lines there are on there. But imagine and the quality was never like 5 pages and you're off the hook.
Oh,
No, it was 20,
mm-mm.
25, 30, 40. I've
80,
80, 90,
100.
120. Like it was, and
Yes.
you wouldn't play, you wouldn't do anything, you wouldn't watch TV, associate with no one
Until they were done.
until they were done. And in some cases, a little bit too much.
26 to 29 for the wide ruled. What about college ruled? We have our little investigator behind the scenes
There
over
you
there.
go.
That's
I don't
crazy.
know if you remember that.
34 for college
34.
ruled. Okay, so a little bit more, but
But
still.
still, like, I was just like, why would you do that to me?
Yeah.
And I feel like once he realized that the wide rule was less, he would make it like the front and the back was one. Because they were
Yes.
the lines are so like we could not
You
cheat the
cannot finesse
system.
the system
So we
anymore.
tried, but
He was very clever. I give him that
yeah.
cuz I would try everything, and like when he said like you would not do anything, you would not associate with anyone
Hmm.
until they were done. And this is where it becomes a little bit of the mental and emotional abuse because you would be up
And the
late at night.
psychological, yeah,
You had school the next day.
it didn't matter.
It did not matter. You had to finish X amount until you could go to sleep. But what about that? Like we're talking about this foster family.
Hmm.
What about
So
that or what's a boundary that you had to learn?
so yeah, so that was the dynamic and kind of like the punishments because there
And
was
we're
no
gonna have a
abuse
full episode about this because there's
in the
just
system and the stories that yeah, all of
yes,
the good. I don't know if it's good, but
yes,
entertainment for y'all,
yeah,
trauma
entertainment.
for us. But yeah, so that's the punishment, that's the relationship we had with them, that's how they were. And so like I said before, people would say that I was trouble child, all that, like
Mhm.
9 times out of 10, like I said, it would be like 20 if we didn't come home from school like early, or if I didn't do a chore or whatever it was, right? And the thing about dad is the thing about our foster dad is he would often say this, and so much so that it's like engraved in my brain. My eye
Oh.
twitches anytime I'll say why, but
Oh.
he used to sit there and he would, like when I was getting in trouble, he would sit there and say like, "Oh, for whatever it is," right? He would lecture me, and if I felt like it was unfair, like, oh, it was a misunderstanding, or no, I reacted this way because someone did this and this, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah. Like there was more to the
there was
story.
more to the story, but he was just going off of what happened, what he saw, what he was told, whatever it is.
Mhm.
And so I would be like trying to tell him, and he would sit there and he would tell me, he'd be like, let me talk, and after I'm done talking, then you can talk.
So in Spanish, how would he say it? Because you say you got this engraved in your head. So that's the English, because they only spoke Spanish.
I f-
Primero yo hablo y después, cuando yo termine.
tú terminas or
Oh,
something like
okay, yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
No, no, no. Yeah. Or tú puedes hablar. Tú puedes hablar. You can talk. And
You
I
can.
remember
That's
that.
crazy.
Yeah, I remember that because he was like, tú puedes hablar después. So he like after he was like, you can talk after, and I was like, okay, like all
Yeah.
right, bet I'm going to respect you because you are my elder. I'm going to listen,
Mhm.
and I'm hoping you do the same on your end, right?
Yeah, like hold your end of the
So
bargain.
he goes on, da da da, and then after he's done, usually he's like, and because of that, you get so
X
and so.
amount. Yeah. Aplanas.
So now I'm like, okay, now it's my turn, right? And so he was like, no, no, yeah, like, and go, like, y vete, like, go do your planas, like, you have a bunch to do, like, get out of my face. And I would be sitting there like, but trying to get, like, but you said, like, you said that if I held my tongue and I listened to you, you were gonna hear me out, because that's what you said, like.
Yeah.
And he would sit there, and it literally felt like I was, the words I was spitting were getting shoved back in my mouth, and I felt like I was, like, getting punished for drowning, if that makes sense, because it felt like my words didn't hold weight. My words were, like, I wasn't able to speak up for myself. I wasn't
Yeah.
able to express, like, my feelings or what I thought was right and wrong, which is why, like, yeah.
You know what I pictured when you said that? I picture if I could find a drawing, maybe
Mhm.
ChatGPT could come in hand. But I picture like this girl. You know how they put those like word bubbles? Like, okay, I
Mhm.
pictured this little girl trying to talk, and then I picture like a hand shoving it right back down her throat.
Yeah, cause
Like,
as I was trying to, like, speak my mind, it was like, as I was like, but you, like, but you said that he was like, okay, 30, 40, 50, 60, like, adding more onto it. And it's just like, I felt so, like, not hopeless, but
powerless.
yeah, cause it was just like, I'm doing what you want from me, but then you don't take your, like, you're not listening to what you're saying, and now
Mhm.
I'm getting punished for this. It's not fair. It's not fair. Like,
Mhm.
and please, parents, if you're watching or anyone, don't do that, because then I feel like that led, growing up, like we say, like, our traumas stem from childhood, and I feel
Mhm.
like that has impacted me crazy, because, like.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I just love the fact that you said that. No, not the fact that you shared your trauma. The fact that yes, I relate to you, and it's crazy because I remember it just brings me back like, oh my gosh, I'm back to that 10-year-old, that 11-year-old who
Mhm.
would try to voice what happened, and I wasn't being heard out. And so we were talking about this behind before we hit record
Mhm.
about, okay, it was considered talking back, right?
Oh
And
yeah, he would be like, "Oh, and that's what he would say. He'd be like, "Oh,
estás
and
rezongando.
because you're talking back." Even after he said I could talk
Mhm.
after, he's like 20, 30, 40.
Yeah.
And and that's why I said he would flip it and make it seem like I wasn't listening. I was being defiant. I was
Mhm.
rebellious. I was, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was not that. If
Mhm.
anything, you were rebellious to your own word, because yeah, let's talk about it.
So I'm like, okay, what's the boundary? So it's the line between expressing yourself respectfully and being dismissed or shut down just for speaking. So that yeah, it's just crazy because I feel like the key points for a healthy boundary is that you have the right to explain your feelings or decisions, and be honest and calm doesn't mean you're being rude, which was often taken like that. Like, I
Mhm.
just remember so many times in that instinct, and like you said, a lot of our, like, without parents realizing, like, you're what how you punish us, like the way that your actions, like, it really does follow us through our adulthood.
Actions and words, like.
Yes. Like, oh, one of the things that I feel like, just the thing that I struggled with, because like the way you said, like, he would add on to your planas that you
Mhm.
already had. I feel like I struggle so much with confidence when it comes to words. Like,
Mhm.
I, I'm working on it. I feel like I'm confident, but like I'm not outspoken. Maybe that's the what I'm trying to say.
Mhm.
Like, I'm not confident when it comes to standing up to something, because so long for, I mean, you think about it, 3 years with 9 years, 9 years of my childhood
Being
was
trained to
was
be like that.
to be silent. Your
Mhm.
words don't matter. What you have to say, I don't want to hear it. Like, being that conditioned into your head over and over again of, you can speak up, but I'm not going to listen. Matter of fact, I'm going to punish you and continue to punish you every time you have something to say. So for me, it's like every time that I like, as an adult now, like, I just feel like my words don't carry the weight that I want them to, or I'm not confident enough to speak the words that I have, because for me, it's like my words don't matter.
And I feel like that's why maybe this is a moment of realization for you. But you also had mentioned you feeling this way when you decided to cut mom off the first time, because you were like, I just didn't see the point. Now we're saying full circle moment. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? What we're saying? Yeah. The reason for it, self-consciously, you didn't know, now you unpacked it, but
Mhm.
it's from childhood. Like the reason for that was 9 years. And then plus because that was just with that family. That didn't mean that we were done with the system. We weren't in the
Mhm.
system for just 9 years. No, no, no.
I was in the system till I aged out at 21.
Mhm.
So my whole childhood. That's crazy that you said that because I wanna. This is a little side note. Um, but I don't remember what episode, but it was one of our episodes about how it was about our personal substance
Mhm.
abuse, and how I had mentioned like you had asked me in that episode. If you haven't watched it, go watch it now because you're missing out on what this
Yes.
full circle
You're not
moment is.
understanding.
But you had asked me of like why didn't I turn, because like we said I've always been a bookworm.
Mhm.
You had asked me in that episode why didn't I turn to books, like that's always been my escape.
Mhm.
Like why did I turn to weed when books have always been my escape.
Mhm.
And I had a therapy session after that episode, and like the way you said that I was punishing myself without
Mhm.
realizing, like when I didn't choose to speak to mom
Mhm.
about that boundary, because to me it's like, well, you're not going to listen, like that full circle moment that
Mhm.
we just had right now. And when you had asked me that question, I asked my therapist, and I was like, I don't get, like Wendy asked me this question and I don't understand, like why didn't I go to books, like why didn't I do that. And in this foster family,
Mhm.
they learned pretty quickly, like, y'all, I've always been a bookworm. So like
Mhm.
you could punish me by taking away the TV, by taking away music hurt a little bit. Like music has always been my outlet, but
Mhm.
that didn't hurt like to an extent. Like I could
Yeah.
care less. I would be that girl who would go to the library, take out the maximum books,
Mhm.
read those 2 books in 2 weeks, turn them
And
all
come
back
back,
in,
yeah.
come back and bring out more books. So he learned pretty quickly like the way to hurt her is to take away her books. So when he would take away my books, it was like that was the end of the world for me. Like I loved writing, I loved reading. I've loved that self-expression.
Mhm.
So the way that first full circle moment that you just said is like,
Mhm.
now when I had spoken to my therapist about it, she said the same thing, like they took away the one outlet that you had.
Mhm.
So when you turn to weed, it's because without you realizing it, you were punishing yourself. The same way they punished you when it came to your books
Mhm.
is the same way you punish yourself when instead of turning to something positive,
And healthy, yeah.
it became like you weren't deserving of it.
Mhm.
So just that full circle of moment of realizing that hey, your actions as parents do really affect us as adults. Like
Yeah.
it really does. Yeah, it really does create that damage. Mhm.
And it trains us to have that mindset in the future.
That I'm not worthy of these things.
So why even speak up if my whole life, it's been
Yeah.
I hear you, but doesn't matter, no.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, huh? Isn't that crazy?
Cuz I'm realizing, I know this is a little side note, but like it that's why I like learning about why it is that I am the way I am,
Mhm.
learning about, like I said, like those, what did I say, the topic of the books, self improvement books,
Yeah.
cuz it explains it to you, and then it's almost like, oh, okay, that makes sense. That's why I felt like this. That's why I expressed myself like this, or that's why, like in this situation, like I said, it's a little side thing, but it's a podcast. We're meant to ramble.
Yeah.
Um,
And it feels so much natural when we're talking about it openly rather than like
mhm.
we're supposed to follow this script, Wendy.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like we do speak about things that we're going to talk about in the podcast, but we
yeah.
don't go over it like beginning to end to
Yeah.
transitions. Like certain things will randomly come up and then
Mhm.
we'll just share, and that's
That's how it is.
natural way of it. And I just forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, no. I was gonna say, like, at least from this conversation, yes, we're talking about like parents and stuff, but it also just made me aware, like, in relationships, I am very like, I press the issue a lot about, do you hear me? Are you understanding what I'm saying? And what I'm saying,
Mm.
is it valuable to you? And I always realize, like, okay, maybe I just talk too much, and like maybe I just
Okay.
like am hard headed and I want my point, But no, because I know like I'm not doing it for a selfish reason. It's just like I said, like I want to be heard and I
Yeah.
want the issue to be fixed ASAP because
For so long,
for
like
so
you were
long
unheard.
it felt like that illustration that you said. Like I'm trying to get it out,
And someone
but
shoving it right
someone's
back.
shoving it back in me. And it's just like, if I'm gonna speak, I want it to be like, I want it to feel validated,
Yeah.
heard, and respected because for so long it was never seen as that. It was just like, the more I talked, it was like it very, and then I remember it too. He was very nonchalant about it. Like I would literally feel like I was like,
And there were
but
times where
but
you were crying. Like I remember crying to
I
him
was
trying to like, but
frustrated.
wait, like let me tell you what happened. And he had no sympathy. Like he would just add on to your pain. And it's like you're trying to not drown and just say your side of things. And
And you're not even doing it, and that's the hardest thing, is being punished for something that you're not doing wrong but someone is making you feel that way. And
yeah.
again, we are very understanding that, these are just things that happen. This doesn't paint the picture for who they are as a
Mhm.
whole. They've done a lot of good things for us, but they are parents, and it is important for them to know, or just any parent in general, it's okay for your child to let you know, like, hey, you did mess up here. You are learning how to be a parent. And like I said, like I gave them a lot of grace with the whole like
Mhm.
being a parent to kids in the system and
Mhm.
dealing and having to deal with those things. Like a lot of the times they might have not known that instead of it healing this child that has been through it, you're actually deepening it because they've already experienced something similar. So it's almost like,
Yeah.
because we experienced the whole thing with like the social workers and mom, like,
Yeah.
we could speak but we couldn't because at the same time we would get hurt. And here we
Yeah.
are, like, that's probably why it was so like frustrating and like hard for us, because we had been through something similar,
Yeah.
and now it's just like we can't escape it.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Yeah. No, and I 100% agree with you. Like I get it. Like there's something that I always see on like TikTok where it's like, "Oh, don't forget that this is your mom or your dad's first time being on the planet too." And
Mhm.
I'm not invalidating you guys as parents. It's hard.
Mhm.
I mean, I would say it's hard to be a parent. I'm not a parent myself, but
I'm a
I
puppy parent and it's hard.
yeah.
Real hard.
I validate you in that sense that it is hard. Like you're raising these two human beings to try to be the best in society, to have morals, to have all the things that you want them to be equipped with to survive this world.
Mhm.
But at the same time, like you also need to understand that like your actions really do hurt your child. And if you're not parents, it is okay. Oh my goodness, I would have so much respect for a parent to be come up to me after they yelled at me, to come into my room and realize, oh wait, I was wrong. I
Yeah.
was wrong. If they I would have so much respect and so much more of a trust and see you more as like my parent who admits that it's when they're wrong, to come into my room and be like, hey, you know what, I realized that I was yelling at you because I thought you had taken my charger, and all of a sudden I found it in my purse, and I am so sorry that I put that on you. I'm so sorry that I tried to accuse you of you stealing it when really in reality it was my fault. I just misplaced it. Like I
And
would respect you.
sister, as you say that, even adults in general, because I had a situation with a person,
Mhm.
like, again, side thing, but just like for conversation. um the same person that you had said reached out to you about like the sibling thing.
Mhm.
There was a situation with when we were in the Tustin house,
Mhm.
and Benny was like our father figure. He was still like alive. And at that time, mom had given me like a phone, like it was like a whatever phone.
Mhm.
And when he came to live with us, it had no service, no nothing. So I was just using it just to play. It became his phone. Speed it up. Basically, family came over, and distant family came over, and I was given the phone, so I was playing with it. Someone had asked me like, "Oh, like, can I use it or can I see it?" Blah blah blah. I was little, and
Mhm.
I just wanted to play. There's people, like I said, family coming, so I would just use that as like, "Oh my god, I have new playmates."
Mhm.
And I gave her the phone. I don't know what the heck happened. I don't know what it was, but needless to say, basically that person had hid it or forgot it, I don't know how, under like some sheets.
Mhm.
And for like a whole week dad did not speak to me. Dad was furious. He didn't and dad was the only loving male loving person to us
Mhm.
in that household. So it really 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 hurt, like, to a different degree. And also being in a place where a fear of, like, all we know is these men that
Mhm.
weren't loving, that weren't caring, that weren't what he was, and
Mhm.
finally this one person. And now in my head it's like he thought that I hid it somewhere and I just wasn't trying to give it back. So in my head, that fear of, like, oh my god, does that mean he's gonna switch into the rest of these guys and
Yeah.
he's gonna be just like them? Like, all of that could have been avoided had the person just been a grown adult and just been like, I mean, at that age maybe she wasn't an adult,
Yeah.
but even now, when the situation was brought up, like, I would have respected you 10 times had you been like, oh yeah, I don't know, I was playing a little trick on you and it's under the bed, or like, because that costed me a week of fear, like,
Mhm.
I would say even more than regular, because I was just like that one good person. I was so scared that because of wherever the phone was at, that I was gonna lose that person.
Mhm.
That person, that good person, was gonna turn into like the worst. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But
So
yeah, I
yeah.
agree with that.
Yeah.
And
Just admit.
parents, if you're ever, like my sister said, like, you're wrong, like, don't ever feel ashamed for being like, oh, like, oh shit, like it was in the drawer the whole time, and like, nah, I like, don't
And
feed
follow
your
through with your
ego.
punishment
Yeah, because of
still.
your ego, don't do that, because you're showing them, like, how to run from accountability, how to just,
Mm.
like, sweep it under the rug. Because another thing in Hispanic culture, they won't say sorry, but they'll
No.
go cook and be like, you want to eat, like,
Yeah. Or they'll
that's.
come and bring you something instead of just saying, I'm sorry, I messed up. Like it words really do have the power to hurt, to heal, to just have power. Like they have power, and it's like your actions. I mean, yeah, that's nice. You cooked me my favorite meal, but just also adding the layer of I'm sorry I messed up.
And another connection I just made, the whole, like, it's kind of like slapping a band-aid, right? Like the whole, like, the whole I won't say sorry. I messed up, but I'm not gonna say sorry because of my ego. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to slap a band-aid on it and make it seem like, oh, everything's fine, but we don't have to talk about it. Cause that, again, kids are soaking that in, and I feel like for me, because that was our upbringing, I felt like that enhanced, or was maybe one of the reasons why in my DB relationship, it's like, remember how I mentioned the whole hand thing? Like, as long
Hmm.
as he made any type of physical touch with me, it was like, okay, I'm safe,
We're
I'm good
good.
now.
Yeah.
And I was almost like, oh, it is what it is, because he touched me. Like, we don't have to speak about it anymore. As long as he slaps this superficial band-aid on me, we don't have to talk
Mm.
about, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can see, like, really having this conversation, thinking about it, you can really find the source of why. That's what I'm saying, learning about yourself is very important, because you
Yeah.
can see, like, this is why I am this way, this is why I want this
Yes.
is why this is, yeah.
That's so crazy. I love that we had so many circle
I
moments in
know.
this episode, and it's so good to hear. I do want to reiterate with boundaries, just, the person setting a boundary is hard, and obviously we've shared that it's hard, and setting a boundary is hard. The person receiving the boundary may challenge you at some point, but be stern,
Mhm.
because honestly, take care of yourself first. The boundary that you're setting in place is to take care of yourself, and you don't want to compromise yourself just to please others. Don't do that. It's not going to benefit you in the long run. Matter of fact, it will just hurt you in the long run, because you're allowing people to keep stepping over you and over you and over you, and it's not going to do you any good.
And like you said, like, they reap off of benefiting from stepping on your boundaries.
Yeah.
And another thing, like, you're saying, like, like, don't do it for anyone, or, and that's true. However, there are situations where, like a loved one, like,
Mhm.
sometimes you might, okay, let me bring this boundary down for this loved one, or whatever.
Mhm.
I like to tell myself now, moving forward, because of everything that I've learned and how I hold myself, like I'm very big on boundaries. That's another thing I wanted to kind of talk about a little bit. Like
Okay.
I have been applauded for being a woman that has so many boundaries, so much respect for herself.
Mhm.
I have been applauded, but I have also been around people that have made me feel like, oh, like you're doing too much, or like, you think you're all that to because like we said, like I don't allow certain things. I don't allow people to talk to me a certain way. I
Mhm.
don't allow people to touch me or just speak to me in any kind of way, you know.
Mhm.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. To speak to you in any type of way.
Yeah. So it in this, I don't know, and I feel like for the longest it was a lot of like negative things about it, and I felt like those things were kind of making me like, oh, like doubt myself, like maybe I am doing too much. Maybe in society it does look like I think of myself like I'm too good for this, but it's like deep down inside I know it's not that. It's just to protect myself, and
Yeah.
because I know what I give in this world and what I deserve. But then
Yeah.
like I said, like for a while having those processes and feelings, like then came people like that applauded me for it, and it was reassuring, and it was a beautiful feeling, like knowing like, okay, I'm not, this is just what self-love looks like
Mhm.
in a more mature aspect, and not just hair,
Yes.
nails, toes, whatever.
Yes.
This
I
is more
love that.
self-care, like internally.
Yeah, I love that. I love the fact that you brought that up because so many people have this stigma of like she thinks too highly of herself, like
Mhm.
she thinks she's too good. And one of the things that I will say is don't compromise your peace to please others.
Oh, and that's what I was going on to say too. Like, and
Mhm.
if you're going to, because of said family member or whatever it is, a close friend to you, remember who you're choosing to put. Let me see if I can word this right.
Okay.
Remember who you're choosing to. Hold on.
She's got it, guys. Give her a second.
It's just I just can't put it into words. It's basically like make sure that the person that you're allowing yourself to feel uncomfortable. You got
What are you trying to say?
like okay. If you're gonna if you're gonna bring down that wall, that boundary,
Mhm.
let it be, and put yourself in that uncomfortable position by putting down that boundary. Let it be by someone that at least it's worth it, if
Okay.
you're gonna fold your boundaries, let it be like that person is watering you and they're not just taking advantage of you. You get what I'm saying?
Oh,
Like
okay, okay, okay.
let whoever is
And we can always put this once she finds her words, we can put it right
yeah.
here.
I'm gonna think about it until
No, but
I
I love
figure
the
it
fact
out.
that you said that let it be so that they're watering you and adding onto you instead of just
I
take.
think it's watch who's making you.
No, sister, you're not gonna get it. She's got a brain fart, y'all. But I
It'll
I
come.
still I still love that, and I just love the fact that this whole podcast was about boundaries, and we openly talked about it so much. Um, just remember that you have boundaries for boundary starts with yourself, and it's your time and energy, that negative self-talk that we often do, the toxic relationship, the people pleasing, your body and health. Like there's so many boundaries that you do without even realizing it.
Mhm.
So just remember to protect. Daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves even when we risk disappointing others.
Mhm.
So I love this podcast. I thought it was so
I don't
good.
know. I feel like yes, it was about boundaries, but it was also informative, and then like little like side
Yes.
notes. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this
Yes.
spill or learn more about us,
Yeah.
our backgrounds.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And we look forward to seeing you guys next week. And also, I don't think we introduced him because
No.
who is what's his name? What's his name finally?
So we have Mr. Psalms here.
Yes. Oh, and he's the cutest little thing in the world. He loves to bite. He's very playful.
He's like 9 weeks, so
Speaking of biting, he just bit
he's
me.
very energetic, and he just woke up from a little nap. So yeah.
Yeah, but We'll see you next time, sister.
Yes.
All right. Thank you guys so much. And bye.
Bye.